Just call it like Paul Rants. Our latest segment, Paul Rants.
I can't help myself. Neither can you.
Hi, I'm Paul Staley of Diverge Media, and I'm about to go on a rant. But first, go visit our merch shop or donate to Diverge.
You're going on a rant.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on a rant. I'm trying to run a business here. We still do that in Ontario. Anyhow, I've taken issue with a lot of things going on in the world today, and some of them need further explaining. In 2009, a few key things happened. 1. Bill Gates joined the World Health Organization. 2. Vaccine manufacturers are no longer liable. And 3. The definition of a pandemic changed to exclude deaths. And I'm certain there's no correlation between those three. Then this week, Billion Stan Gates does an interview where he straight up asked, "Hey, would you consider releasing the ingredients of the vaccine and essentially solve this pandemic?" And his response was simply, "No." I mean, Bill Gates couldn't keep a virus out of a Microsoft computer, and we're supposed to trust him with our healthcare systems now? I mean, he's only a self-proclaimed healthcare professional. This really feels like it's just like a remake of Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, you should trust Bill Gates with your health about as much as you should trust banging a prostitute without a rubber. I mean, this is a guy who made $200 billion last year. So yeah, there's nothing to see here. Meanwhile, the mainstream media does their best to brush this shit under the rug. I mean, if they could only see and hear the public's disdain for them, their ability to do that is about as keen as Helen Keller's would be. Statistically, it's more likely that you'd have a serious adverse effect from the AstraZeneca vaccine if you're under 30 than actual having one from COVID. Yeah, the same AstraZeneca vaccine that got pulled from 17 countries and lied about their efficacy numbers. Those guys. Meanwhile, we gotta listen to Fauci say, wear a mask, wear 2-layer, wear 3-layer, 2-layer, 1-layer. I haven't seen somebody pivot this much since Ross and Chandler carried that sofa up the stairs. I mean, if you look outside, because I gotta assume you're inside because Big Brother told you to stay there, you would see the US of A enjoying their lives. But here we are in Canada, calling the Philippines for medical assistance. I mean, we're rolling out blood red carpet for the 12 people we're about to fly in. Seems odd, doesn't it? I mean, we can go back and forth on this COVID debate all day. You can be very pro, you can be very con, but us in the middle, can we just agree these restrictions are fucked? They're about as dense as JT's budget proposal. I mean, I can't buy clothes for my kid, but I can get dog clothes? Hell, my dog can go get its nails did and its hair cut, and I can't. And I mean, look at this. I got a Florida follicle fountain flowing out the back here, and I can't do nothing about it. These restrictions are fucked. Next you're gonna tell me that JT and Sophie are actually in love. But back to Florida. They still exist, right? Texas too? I mean, that narrative disappeared as quick as the Wii scandal. They're being talked about as much as sexual assault in the military. I mean, we got oranges and weapons in this country still, so I gotta assume they still exist. And I mean, from what I've heard, they're actually doing pretty good. But you wouldn't know that because that story disappeared as quick as the two Michaels. I mean, we aren't even supposed to leave our house like we're some sort of crazy cat lady. And those of us who do are wearing masks outdoors. I mean, I saw 12 people wearing them in a parking lot. I had a guy follow me the other day wearing a mask on in his car, and he was about as alone as a D&D fanatic. I mean, what kind of liberal blackface charity stealing propaganda crack are we smoking? I mean, I guess this is what Ricky meant when he said worst case Ontario, right? I mean, the liberals have their hands so far up people's asses, they're working their mouths like a puppet. I mean, they keep saying things like, wear your mask, don't go outdoors, you'll kill grandma, trust the science. I mean, you should trust government science as much as you should trust Casey Anthony babysitting your kids. I mean, I can already hear people. They're saying, do you think you know more than a scientist? No, I don't, but I know a couple doctors who asked for a public debate, and the line went silent. I mean, they didn't want that smoke. They realized, I'm not Snoop Dogg. On top of that, the science fiction table has so many conflicts of interest, they're getting money thrown at them so much you'd swear they worked at Solid Gold. But let's be honest for a minute. 5 to 10 hospitals in Ontario are near or at max capacity at all times. It's been a problem as old as time. But Doug Ford ran on a platform that said he was going to solve hallway medicine. Did he do that? No. The only problem he wants to solve is how to get a half dozen bacon and eggers delivered to his cottage during quarantine.
They're the best, those real leg sandwiches.
I mean, if you search the archives of CTV, Global, or CBC, you'll see every winter, every year, hospitals are at like 130% capacity. It's been a problem as old as time. The point I'm trying to make is these restrictions are kind of bullshit, and Ontario's reaction to these has been about as soft as Doug Ford's midsection. At what point do we actually decide to end these lockdowns? I mean, this is like the 11th sequel of a movie no one asked for. Meanwhile, our government has limited our access to healthcare, the court system, proper education. They've taken your paychecks, they've taken your business, and I'm supposed to trust these guys? And then I gotta go online and I gotta see posts about how Hillier and Bernier should be locked up for these protests. I mean, last I checked, government officials were sworn to uphold the charter. They might be the only ones that are actually doing their job these days. Meanwhile, the Liberals have been violating the Charter of Rights and Freedoms like it's a stripper in front of Jonathan Bance. Hillier and Bernier, they might not align with you politically, they might not be the stallions you want to ride into battle, but you can't say that these boys haven't been putting in work like they're Clydesdales. And as the carrot of freedom dangles in front of your nose, think back to how many times the goalposts have actually shifted, and then think, how long till I'm actually on the streets with these guys? Alright, that's it. End of rant. I'm about to have a stroke, and I'm not even sure the hospitals do intake for strokes anymore. You think that would be controversial?
Isn't everything these days?
I mean, you should trust Bill Gates with your health about as much as you should trust banging a prostitute without a rubber.
I'm sorry. just you struggled through the first half, and then the second half was just.
Meanwhile, Fauci says, is it Fauci?
Is it Fauci? I think it's Fauci, not Fauci. I always say Fossey.
I always thought that was weird, but then you got me all fucked up on it. Pretty sure everywhere I've heard is
Well, for the
Fauci.
record,
Hi, I'm Paul Staley of Diverge Media, and I'm about to go on a rant. But first, go check out our merch store, or donate to Diverge. Donate to Diverge.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister. Don't worry, we've done this.
divergemedia.ca/donate-to-diverge.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that, but